There we go. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you coming. This is absolutely amazing. I expected a nice little group right here. And here we are, almost full at Madison Recital Hall. Thank you. Honestly, this is one of the most surreal experiences I've had of all of the things that she mentions and in my life path. Standing here, speaking to you, is kind of weird, surreal, because I'm still that podunk kid that grew up in Mesa, Arizona. I think I masked it okay, but I was really awkward. I was odd. I did not fit in. I had no idea what, but I was a go-getter. And I put myself 100% into everything I did. I tried so hard to just fit in and to do everything right, but not fitting in. It was interesting because I had this drive, this passion, right? And I didn't understand it. And then I also had, on the other side, I had this uncanny existential awareness that I couldn't really talk about to a lot of people. I thought a lot about eternity, about humanity as a whole, about my legacy. I mean, 10 years old, I was thinking about these things and what am I going to leave? And I thought symbolically. One of the things that they would say is, okay, when we go to a public place, there were 10 kids in my family, right? So we kind of make a mess. But they would say, we need to leave this place better than we found it. And so we go and clean it all up and stuff. And in my 10-year-old mind, I'm thinking, I wonder if I could apply that to my life. I come to Earth. Maybe, can I leave Earth better than I found it? When I leave, what will the difference be? Will it matter that I was here? And so these ideas were in my mind, and I was out there. I said a mantra for. I don't even remember when I said it for myself, but it was a life is an adventure. At that time, I didn't know what hashtag was, but if I did, that would have been it. And I still live by that mantra. So I would listen to Oklahoma and Camelot and Sound of Music and sing along and go, oh, I was born in the wrong era. Oh my gosh. So cool that they used to write those things, and now it's all over. Oh well, I guess I'll be a doctor. And so I did, and seriously, I was all set to become a doctor. And I loved chemistry and math and science, and my calculus class was like, awesome. One of my favorite classes. It was so cool. And seriously, I loved it. And so I was fine with that. That was great. But it just so happened I was taking a cousin of mine. I was picking her up from her ballet class. And I went to Gene Wright's dance studio in Mesa, Arizona. And I'm sitting there in the lobby. And I'm listening to the music that they're playing over the speaker. And I had never heard it before, and I was like, what is that? It's synthesized, but it's orchestrated, but it's like ominous and beautiful, but it's like something I'd never heard before. And I was like, what in the world? This is so cool! Who did this? Who wrote this? I've never heard anything so amazing, and it just chills up and down my spine. So I went over and I said, excuse me, what is this playing? What is this music? And then he looked at me weird and went, hello? Phantom of the Opera? I was like, no, I've seen the old movie. They did not play this very well. And he was like, you know Andrew Lloyd Webber? Who's that? I was like, so when was this written? When did he write this? Like, just a few years ago. It's on Broadway now. Like, I'm sorry? Excuse me? On Broadway, what? Yeah, it's on Broadway right now. There's a Broadway now. It's going on now? There are people doing Broadway. Oh! Whoa! The angels opened and the clouds parted, and it didn't really change my life that much at that time. But in years to come, drastic difference. Like that was the kind of the spawning seed at that moment that said, oh, Broadway still exists. Right? Just because you know something doesn't mean you know it. right? We need to be open and ready to learn constantly throughout our lives, because your paradigm will shift. Even when you are in your middle age, and when you'll learn things and you'll go, and your whole life will go, whoa, okay. Be ready for that. Be open to that. I wanted to make a difference, right? So yes, pre-med zoology, and a very wise zoology 339 professor, don't remember his name, but he was very wise, because he pulled me to the side, and he said, Shaun, I'm assuming you want to work with people, just getting to know your personality. I said, yeah, be a doctor, yeah, people. He's like, you might want to change your major, because zoology is going to tell them you'll research the rest of your life. Oh, okay, so do something more like human interaction. Find something and do pre-med, something else. Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah. So I looked around, and there's this new major that they just started called Music, Dance, Theater. I was in show choir. How fun! I could be the singing, dancing doctor. That would be awesome. So I auditioned. Randy, I'm sorry. I have not had a chance to apologize for that audition. I was turned down. Seriously, they said, no, you can't be in the major. And they explained to me, they said, you have raw talent, but you're not developed enough so that you would reach the level of proficiency we need you to by graduation. So, yeah, no thanks. But we'll let you take a couple of the classes, the major classes, if you'd like. So some of the MDT classes. Like, oh, okay, cool. I'll do that. Right? Go get them. Sure. Okay, opportunity. So I did that. Just before that semester ended. Chuck Whitman, not here anymore, retired. He was my professor, theater professor. He pulled me aside and he says, Shaun, a few of the faculty who have taught you over this last semester, we got together and we were talking, and we all agree that in all of our time teaching, we've never seen anyone progress as fast as you have this last semester. If you would like to re-audition, we would accept you into the major, if you'd like to do that. Okay, cool, so I did. I did not know the first thing about monologues and singing solos and dancing, and I had no clue. Again, show choir. That was it. And so they took a big chance on me coming in. And again, I wanted to say thank you. So it was a struggle. It was such a struggle. So I was pre-med, I was a quadruple major. I was pre-med, music, dance, theater. 17 to 21 credits every semester. I was killing myself, 4 hours of sleep. I was just like, but that was okay. I wanted, well, okay. It wasn't okay. I was killing myself. I had to pick one or the other, and of course it was going to be medicine. I wanted it my whole life, of course. That's what I needed to do. So I always seek spiritual guidance when I try to make decisions. And so I did. I prayed about it and said, of course I need to go into the medical profession, so I need to drop the arts and really focus on what I'm going to do. And I felt nothing. Zero. I was like, okay, I need to show faith. I need to move forward. I'm going to do this, and then it'll all work. I need to step into the dark. So I did, and I changed everything, and I moved forward with these other classes, and I still felt anxiety and dark and confusion, and then I thought, no. Stupid thought. So then I started wrestling with it. And it took me 2 weeks to wrestle it. And finally come to say, okay, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I think it's stupid, I think it's ridiculous. Who lives their life going from audition to audition, not knowing when they're going to have a next job, and literally unemployed all the time, every time you turn around? Who does that? What kind of a person in the right mind? Okay, whatever, all right. So I went and switched things around, and I prayed, and this time there's an undeniable yes. okay. Yeah, I did not think it was the right thing. My mind, my finite mind, said, that's ridiculous. Somebody else knew better. And so, I've learned over the years that if we seek spiritual guidance, not only daily, but especially in the crossroads, honestly, you will be guided to that place where you can do the greatest good, even though you don't know that yet. So I did 110%, pushed it, made it happen, and let's see here. One of the most difficult parts of that is the follow through. Even though you don't know why, you gotta have the courage to stick to it and keep going, even though you think, I don't think this is right. But keep going. Keep following that. Because there's something down the road you don't know is coming. There are impossible dreams that you don't know enough to dream about yet. So I signed up for my first ballet class. I show up, I'm reading the description, and it says, we expect you to wear tights. I don't have any tights. So I asked around, and they said, oh, they have them over at the RV. They have tights for you that you can just throw in your car. It's like shorts and t-shirt. They have the tights over there. Oh, great. Okay, they'll take care of it. So I go over there, and I show them my card. They give me this black pair of tights and a dance belt. And I take it over, and I'm like, okay. So I put the tights on, and they're really baggy. They've been stretched out. They're old. And I'm like, I can't dance in this. They'll fall down. And that's what. No wonder it's called a dance belt. So I put the dance belt on and tucked it in a little bit. How smart! It held up the tights. I was thrilled. I was like, they thought of everything. So I marched down the RV, headed down the hall. People are looking at me, giggling, laughing, and I was like, of course, I'm in tights. They're gonna laugh. Guys don't wear tights, but I do. So I'm walking down, I go into my class. Sandra Allen is teaching. I go to the bar. I'm the only guy in the class. All these girls in their pink tights, and I'm feeling, a little bit self-conscious in my tights. So I'm like, okay, and nobody talks to me. I go to my place in the bar. I'm like, I'm ready, and Sandra comes in, she's a little bit flustered. Let's start, and so about 10 minutes in the class, Dave Tinney comes walking in, and she's like, and he walks over and he's like, Shaun, could you step outside with me just for a second? He's like, sure. I'm not in trouble. I'm a good student. I'm sure I'm not in trouble, but maybe they want me to move up a level. Maybe I'm good enough that I should be an intermediate instead of a beginning. I bet you that's it. I don't know. We'll see. I go out there and he explains. He says, a dance belt is kind of like a dancer's underwear. And it's for support for the male dancer. So it's worn under the tights. So you might want to fix that. Thank you. And I did the walk of shame down RV hallway. Changed it. Did a little knot to hold the tights up because they were going to fall off anyway. I went back to class. That's the key. So, you have to be able to work like a fool sometimes if you want to become a master. And it's true about any discipline. But the key is to go back to class after you were a fool. And be okay with that. Face the humiliation, walk back into class, smile at everyone, go to your place at the bar, and continue on as if nothing happened. So I went ahead and was able to do New York Theater Ballet and did that for the first year. And soon after that, I went to the wrong audition. Accidentally. I went 3 hours early. I was going to sign up so I could be first on the list. There's a whole line there already. And I was like, 3 hours before the, okay. Walk up to the front and they go to sign and they say, I'm sorry, we don't know you. What is your name? What are you? And I was like, they don't ask that. My name's Shaun Parry. What are you here for? I'm auditioning for the new musical called Aaron. It's part river dance, part jazz. Never made it. And he's going to New Zealand. This is it, right? This is the one? They're like, no, this is the audition for the Brigham Young Dance Company. Oh, sorry, so sorry. Wait, have you ever done any Graham? Oh, a little bit. I took one semester at BYU. And they said, well, you can audition, you might as well. I was like, okay, sure. What's the worst that can happen? They'll say no. So I did. After 3 callbacks, obviously I made a fool of myself. But they saw potential enough in me and technique enough that they offered me a contract on Graham 2. So I danced with the Graham Company, and then I'm still connected to those people and working with them off and on to this day. And do not limit yourself. Don't say no to yourself. Let them say no. They will, plenty of times. But sometimes they won't. And a whole new door will open to you, and a whole new universe of amazing things. All right, so the time came, and I did my Broadway debut. And it just so happened it was 10 years after I first found out that Broadway still existed. And it just so happened that it was in the Imperial Theater, bowing to 2,000 people, standing ovation, in none other than Phantom of the Opera. Dun, 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 dun. Full circle! So, in between gigs, I would go teach at different studios. Nationally, internationally, I would get called to teach at different things. And Vanya Macias in Peru, she was the prima ballerina for the Municipal Ballet de Lima. Try saying that. This is us performing down in Peru, and while I was there, and tell this real quick here, she took me out to the slums and showed me the real Peru. And we ran into these guys who were dancing on the streets. And I said, look, I offered to teach. I'll stay for an extra couple of weeks. I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, but I'll stay for another couple of weeks and work with them. I want to help them. And so we arranged for them to come in, and I worked with them, and I was planning on working with them for a couple more weeks. And so we come in that first day, and I walk in, and I figure, all right, you guys just line up and copy me, all right? So just mirror me, I'll put the music on, this will be easy, right? Couldn't do it. They went off to their corners, and hoods over there, and were talking their street Spanish that I didn't understand. And for 4 hours, I was trying to pull them and help them and trying to do it. So I thought maybe tomorrow will be better. So I come back the next day, same thing. You can't force the horse to drink the water. So I'm done. But again, I needed to seek that spiritual guidance. So that night, I was praying, and I said, you know that I'm not a quitter. You know that. But maybe if I just cut my losses and go somewhere where I can actually accomplish something fruitful, should I go back to New York? And I'm done here, right? This is good. And I meditated and waited. And the only thing that came to me was the same things that are keeping them from doing your class will keep them from getting an education, will keep them from having jobs and holding it down, will keep them from having a good family life, or succeeding in any endeavor they might do the rest of their life. Same thing. That was it. It wasn't build an ark. It wasn't do something. It was just this idea. So I wrestled with it all night. And then I started putting all the symbology that I lived with and literalism and trying to put it together. And I said, okay, maybe I'm here to teach, not dance, but these basic life skills. I mean, the things you just basically need that we take for granted. Things like respect, focus, being able to concentrate for more than 30 seconds at a time, being able to work together as a team, set goals and work towards those goals. It's just the basics. So I came in the next day with a very different outlook and a different approach. And I walked in, and I stood there and said, okay, I've got this thing, I'm going to teach you guys. But I want you, actually, you know what? It's so easy. My grandma can do this stuff. It's so easy. But you don't have what it takes. You can't do it. So I'm not going to teach you. And I walked out. And they said, what? What? And they came after me. They said, no. You said it's easy. Why can't we do it? We can do it. I'm sure we can do it. I said, no, you can't. It is impossible for you. Therefore, I will not teach it to you. Well, but maybe we can. I don't know, maybe. Give us a try. So, okay, here's the deal. If I teach this to you, every one of you has to do it. If one person gives up, you all gave up, and I quit, and we're out. We're done. Okay? Every single person has to do it. Nobody gives up. If one person makes a mistake, we all made a mistake. And we start over. You guys okay with that? Those are the rules. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can do that. So we all stand in lines. I stand up there, feet together, put a finger in the air. If we had time, I'd have you all do it. But put your finger in the air. And I said, got a few participants here. All right, so then I said, I want you to move just your finger for 30 seconds. Only your finger, nothing else. Mark, set, and we started. Within 2 seconds, somebody turned and looked to the side. Like, nope, stop, you just moved your head. No, I said only your finger. Oh, okay. So we struggled. And they kept at it. There were a couple of them who kept messing up. Like, at about 15 seconds, they kept laughing or stopping, and they started placing themselves and saying, dude, we're all trying hard and you're messing us up, man. Come on, do it right. And so then they're like, all right, okay, I'll do it. And then one of them, he had to close his eyes because he couldn't concentrate. He was like, so we finally get to, there's like 28, 29, 30. Yes, you guys are high fives. And we're like, yeah, we did it, man. It's like, you just moved your finger for 30 seconds. Why, really? You're so excited? Yeah, but you said that was easy. That was like trick. That's different. It's like, you're right. You're right. It wasn't easy. But let's look at what you accomplished. You just focused on one tiny little thing for 30 full seconds. You've never done that in your life. And you did it with a whole group of people all together. You've never done that in your whole life. I've got a few other things I wanted to teach you. Do you want to learn them? All right, sure. Yeah, okay. I ended up staying for 3 months, teaching them 4 hours a day. The transformation was phenomenal. You could not recognize them from the beginning to the end. Every single one of those guys, here they are. Every single one of them went on to finish school, get jobs. Many of them are performing professionally, teaching the next generation. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely amazing. Here they are in a class, a little more disciplined class. Okay? So I went on and said, this has to happen all over the world. So I started Promethean Spark International, which teaches essential life skills to impoverished youth worldwide through training in the performing arts. That experiential learning process that makes it so that I am disciplined, I am goal setting, I do that. Not just something I've heard about. And so we've been able to partner with some amazing places across. And some of you know about Rising Star Outreach of India. And we actually have the executive director, the president here, Tyler. We are so excited to be working with them. For the past 8 years, we've been running programs in leprosy colonies in India. Impossible dreams. I didn't know enough to dream about. And I've been teaching life skills through dance to these kids. And we've created the first ever Well, here's some of the beginning stages of the teaching process while we were there. And we started the first ever dance troupe, created out of youth from leprosy colonies in the history of the world. Impossible dreams I didn't know enough to dream about. And they have now performed for over 13,000 people, lifting the stigma of leprosy off the minds of the masses. They're on the front lines of the battle, getting rid of leprosy, eradicating it in the world. They're amazing pioneers of today. Here we are in the prisons in Kenya, and working in the 17 to 21-year-olds. In the slums, I was actually there during the Civil War of Kenya. I had to go into hiding. And for those weeks that I was in hiding, they gave me their clothing off their back. They gave me a place to live. They gave me their beds. They slept on the floor so I could sleep in their beds. They gave me food to eat, and I taught them. I gave them what I had to give. And one of those, actually these kids should have been killing each other. They were on opposite sides. But we were in a little corrugated tin hut, learning how to work together and to set goals and to have tolerance and collaboration. And one of them, this kid right here, 11 years old, Gilbert Njoroge. I just talked to him on Facebook yesterday. He's 17 years old now. He finished high school on scholarship. And he is today taking his exams to see how well he will do to get into university. Gilbert. I love these guys. And here he is on a future trip. I showed up and literally he ran in the dirt road in the streets, ran towards me, gave me a big hug. I didn't recognize him. It had been 3 years since I'd seen him. And he gave me a big hug, and he told me, anyway, took him to the prison with me where I was going to teach classes, and I was struggling a bit with the language thing. He speaks Swahili. And think about that. Really? Yeah, he lives there. So he took over. He says, I got this, don't worry. And so I stepped back. And he is younger than all of the inmates. And he stood up there and he explained these principles and how they're applying in his life, and how they made it work for him in school and education, and how he's now helping his grandmother to pay rent. And there he is, teaching. Another dream that I never, ever, ever could have dreamed about. I was traveling across, we'll finish up here really quick. Sorry, some of you are leaving. But I was doing a lecture tour across the northern India, and I got a phone call, an email, from Dr. Ugandar, who is the president of the Council for the World United. And he said, I've heard about what you've been doing, and we would like to invite you to come and speak at the World Parliament on Spirituality. Are you going to be around? Can you come to Hyderabad for that? Sure. When is it? And so I accepted to speak about disabilities and spirituality, and arts and culture and spirituality. And arrived and was able to share what we take for granted to these other people who understand that this age of enlightenment is coming. And all of these amazing people, another dream that I had no idea, and this will be the last one, and we'll wrap it up. But the church asked me to grow this, just so y'all know. Really doesn't matter, but it is a kind of a cool thing that they asked me to grow it so that, well, first to be Stephen. So will you be Stephen, please? And I was like, okay. And then right before it said, actually, there's a change. Would you mind being the penitent thief crucified next to Christ? Okay. Stoned to death, crucified. Okay. Sure. So I come in and it's one of the most spiritual, amazing, powerful experiences I've ever had. Turning, while hanging on a cross, turning and looking at Christ and being told, see you in paradise. So powerful, beautiful. So here is one of them. And then right after that, I was supposed to teach at BYU Hawaii, and I wasn't allowed to have this. And so they said, so right before I cut it, I moved to Hawaii, and it happened to be that my landlady was a photographer, and she said, let's take some pictures. And then we decided, let's do it like Christ, and so some really cool things happen with that that I'll talk about in a fireside sometime. But new series is out called Meditation of Christ, and I had no idea that ever, as an artist, would be able to portray my Savior. And so here are some of the pictures that are now out there and available to share the light of Christ. I had no idea that these things were in my path. There was no way. All of these experiences and this journey, I had no way to be able to dream about it when I was growing up. I'm still that podunk kid from Mesa, Arizona. That kid. The hair kid. I'm still that kid who put the dance belt over his tights. That's me. I take ownership. That's me. And the path I've been led has not been a path I could have dreamed about. I wrote a quick little thing. We'll end on this. I've traveled much of the world living in palaces and slums, dined with kings and beggars. I've held a dying child in my arms and carried mutilated bodies from the devastation of war. I've performed with world-class artists on Broadway stages and danced with traumatized victims of human trafficking. And I've lifted survivors from the rubble of the World Trade Center and bathed with Hindu priests in the waters of the sacred Ganges. I've gone into hiding in the slums during the Civil War of Kenya, danced and sang with my brothers in African prisons, and rubbed shoulders with Hindu swamis, Taoist priests, Buddhist monks, and sun god gurus while presenting at world parliaments and global summits. I've seen the awe-inspiring wonders of the world, but none inspired me more than the wonder in the eyes of an orphan child yearning to learn. I've received standing ovations from tens of thousands over the years, but the most memorable ovations have come from toothless grandmothers smiling and tearful hugs in remote leprosy colonies in India. What really matters? How can we use what has been given to us? Neither fame nor fortune, power nor prestige, health, wealth nor wisdom have any redeeming value as to an end unto themselves. Only as a means to an end, lifting humanity. You all have impossible dreams, that you will go out and will become possible. I ask you to open your mind to the limitless. Your future is filled with impossible dreams that you cannot dream